just getting from home to the beach and to sail and stuff? Is it difficult?
It's really easy. You put it on your roof in your car, and you can put it on the trailer. Takes what, 10 minutes if that to rig from off the top on the roof to get it off onto the floor, to get all your kit out, to rig it all up, get it all checked. They're easy to learn in as well. Great boats to sail. So much fun.
It can be used for all the family, and it's not just for one person. It can be used for many different things. It can be a racing boat to a fun boat to a leisure boat, anything.
It's very easy to learn, and it's a good fun boat because all the controls are simple. You don't have loads of ropes in the boat, and it's nice. It's a nice size, and you can refit easily for the younger people.
The unique construction makes it almost indestructible. It is the only injection moulded boat. So £1 million has been spent on that tool, and that investment in that technology comes through in the quality of the boat.
It's because it's made out of the plastic instead of GRP. You can batter the boat for a good few years, and it's just going to last.
It's very hard to do damage to a topper. That also makes it much more appropriate for sailing clubs or sailing schools to buy. In technical terms, it's unique in that I believe it's the biggest single injection moulding product in the world. Because it's made of plastic, it's not as easily damaged as fiberglass, and most boats are fiberglass. So the term beach boat is used, the idea that it would be put up on a beach. It can be used that way. It can be used very successfully by sailing schools with brand new sailors on sailing courses who may well be hitting rocks and other things, and for that reason it's a much better investment than fiberglass boats of any brand.
You throw them on top of the car and you launch them, you can drag them across the sand. There's never an issue with them being worn out in that way, and a couple of people can sail them. They're fun off a beach as well. The phrase bumper boat always kind of springs to mind, because these sailors, they just jump in, get stuck in at marks, where the action is, and they don't damage their boats. And my job often is to kind of persuade them not to be quite so reckless. In fact, to stick to the rules a bit more, because they've discovered from an early age they can get stuck in, and it does no real harm. It's a boat that is really simple and inexpensive and fun to sail, and reacts very much like a lot of the classes that the kids are likely to be going to later on. They have become very popular as race boats as well, and they are raced ferociously. The standard of the racing is just extraordinary.
You can have a 20-year-old topper that will go just as quickly as a brand new topper, and they last forever, which is sometimes not entirely in the interest of the company, but that is the case. It is an amazingly strong, thoroughbred boat.
The topper I race is, I think it's over 20 years old now, and it still gets up the front of the fleet.
They are indestructible. A lot of people use them down at the club. I mean, you can just pick one up really cheap just to get involved. Most clubs will have a topper there. They can take a few knocks and they'll still be fine, whereas other boats that are, say, wooden, you hit them and then they break. So toppers, they're strong and they're very sort of robust.
Because it's shifted to the centre main, you've got it leading on to other Olympic classes further up the line.
Personally, I prefer it far more. It just feels far more natural, and I just far prefer it from the aft sheeting, as you're always looking back, whereas the natural way is always to be looking forward, and it's a more natural move into a laser or a 420 or 29 or whatever you're going to move into next.
The centre main is such a tremendous innovation, such a tremendous change to the way the boat is sailed. The smaller children, smaller sailors are now sitting in the boat, in the right part of the boat, more of the time.
Join the Topper Class Association, and from there you can get information on where your nearest club is, when you can be racing within your first week of getting there,
The association is principally involved in the training, the race training, and organising the racing of the toppers. It is a full fixture list of racing events that carry on year-round, nationwide, and training opportunities across the board, both locally, nationally, and at varying levels, to take people on from starting to race, principally racing, and then carrying on to racing at the highest level.
Even the racing toppers that we've got here, easily reefed, so the smaller kids can reduce the amount of sail that they've got on and still be relatively competitive in a topper race, like even here at the Nationals.
It's a great place for people to start sailing. I think it's part of the progression. Move into the toppers. The development of Centimenci these days is superb because it makes the transition easier.
I only started just over a year ago. I was booked onto some open training, so I just went along to that, and I got one good race at the beginning which put me in the top group, and just basically from there I met all these people in zone squads and everything, and I found out about all the squads and just took it from there really, and now I'm in a squad myself and applying for the youth squad, so just see how far I can take it.
The RYA have supported 4 junior classes, of which Topper is obviously one of them. You know, the youngsters have had a lot more coaching to, at a much lower level of their sailing development. They have, gained 20 years worth of sailing experience in 2 or 3 years. It's a kind of experience that it did take me 20 years to learn, and gleaned at great expense, day on day. And they're getting it not given on a plate. They've got to work for it. But they do work for it, and they're being fast-tracked.
It was kind of my introduction to sailing, so it's kind of, I think of it as sort of a nice, fun boat to just sail around and mess about in. But I also think of sort of coming down here for the Nationals and everything, racing competitively.
Britain has now just completed another Olympics where sailing for the second time in a row is the greatest medal winner. And that's because the RYA in Britain has funded sailing at junior level, Optimist and Topper. The standard in the Topper fleet, you can guarantee that most of the single-hander champions in Britain and participants in the laser class will ultimately come from Toppers now, especially now that it's gone centre men. You will find an immediate change in the next couple of years, and the quality of coaching in the British fleet is phenomenal.
I think it's the bedrock now of the competitive sailing for young sailors. I think that shows in the huge fleets that we've got now, with consistently 240, 250 of these championships. And I'm absolutely certain that in a few years' time these will be the sailors that will be representing us at the various big world championships and Olympic games around the world.
Well, I think it's really good because it can be raced competitively. It's raced all over Britain, everyone knows about it, and it's also great sort of for kids just to mess around in, and a great introduction to sailing.
What we find is they very quickly are able to handle a boat well, and therefore they can concentrate on racing. So they're really good around the racetrack. They're good at tactics and they're good at strategy, but much earlier than they would be in a boat that was complicated, that say had a spinnaker, or where there was a crew they had to sort out and deal with. Of course, the hope is that 1 or 2 of them will go on to do Olympics and even medal at Olympics, and that would be very gratifying. But end of the day, it's the hundreds and hundreds of sailors who are having fun, are improving their sailing, we're enjoying it more and more because they're better at it. And I think that when these youngsters hit the adult classes, I don't think the adult classes are going to quite know what's hit them.
The racing aspect and the class association memberships, that aspect of the Topper is the best it's ever been. It's in the best hands it's ever been, and you can just see it in the quality of the racing and the organisation. It is superb, and any parent wanting their children to go through to the highest levels of sailing, you could have picked a better class than the Topper to do that for you.
Topper's a great boat, it really is. In terms of junior classes to sail, RYA junior classes, it's one of the only boats where the parents can actually go on the water and sail at the same time as their sons. So I've been on the water myself today, sailing, competing myself against these guys out there, youngsters. But it's great, absolutely great. They don't give any quarter. They expect you to compete on the same level as them, and that's marvellous.
The Topper really has sort of gone from strength to strength over the last few years through lots of RWA involvement and the whole, British sailing as a general thing. Olympic level has just inspired a lot of younger sailors in particular to give it a go.
Well, the thing about the Topper is that I could sail it on my own and just feel that whatever I did was my own work, and I could feel happy about what I've done. Whereas if I was sailing, say, a two-handed boat or a smaller boat, I wouldn't get as much fun out of it, purely because I like to feel that what I've done when I'm sailing is, you know, down to me and not to my crew or my helm. It's like what I've done, so that's what made it interesting for me.
I just really like it because it's such a competitive class. There's a lot of nationalities and you can see all the flags on top of the boat club. There's the Irish, the Scottish, Welsh, English, French, Japanese, Netherlands, USA, Australian boats, you name it.
People come from all over the country to compete against each other, and so you have the people who are just starting out. You know, they've got the regatta fleet, so people who are just not, you know, just coming into racing, they can go out, do a couple of races in the morning and do some training in the afternoon to help them start to learn how to get about the race course.
I think the sailing is the reason they're all together, but what keeps them together, what keeps them trying, you know, to get better and to go to competitions is the fact they meet their mates all the time. And sailing is even more than that, and the topper epitomises that for me. These sailors, they go out in conditions that are difficult. There's no roads out there, they're in charge of their own destiny. And they survive that experience, and they come back far more confident people.
There's quite a highly active social programme in the topper, which is really good for, you know, for making friends and really getting to know the other sailors. Also, as well as making friends, it also helps improve your sailing because, you know, you always want to be by where your friends are in the fleet. So if one of you does well, you want to do well.
I think people should sail toppers and really learn how to sail race and then go into other boats. And it's a really great learner's boat. If you capsize it, it's easy to get up, easy to put up. It takes 5 minutes to get ready.
It's easily handleable, it doesn't frighten anybody, it's not an intimidating boat, but the top sailors can still get, you know, very high performance from the boat.
I've been sailing for 2 years. It's a great boat to start in, and if you can sail it well, it's a great boat to become famous in, and people like Ben Ainsley and things. Ellen MacArthur used to sail topper, I think, and she's quite well off now.
So what's your plans then with your sailing career?
To get a half decent position in the Silver Fleet this year. That's up to where I've got, and then the Olympics, and then after that I think I'll retire.